Hi everybody, and thanks for viewing this YouTube fly tying tutorial. During this video, I'm going to be showing you some tools to use whenever you're tying parachute flies. Now, parachute flies are without a doubt one of the go-tos amongst most fly fishermen today. You can use them to represent floating nymphs, emergers, the actual mayflies. I've seen them used for caddisflies and also even spinners. There are just so many uses for tying that parachute style on top of a hook, and I really recommend it in so many different patterns. The one issue that a lot of tyers have is that sometimes they really are unsure of exactly what tool to buy and if they even need a tool for that purpose. For the majority of my YouTube fly tying tutorials, whenever I'm tying parachute flies, I typically assume that all the viewers don't have any parachute tools. Thus, I really try to show all the viewers exactly how to tie the patterns just by using pretty much bare bones. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you the difference between a couple styles of parachute pliers. One's going to be more of a gallows tool, and one's going to be an actual pair of parachute pliers used with the intention of tying parachute flies. So with that said, I'm going to kind of get everything set up here. I might show you a couple different camera angles throughout this tutorial, but the gist of it's going to be really simple, and that's to give you an understanding of exactly what the different tools look like for tying parachute flies and how to use them. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is basically show you a little bit about my Elite attachment. Well, for starters, this is a Stonfo Cayman vise. I recently received this vise, absolutely love it, but the one thing that I really love about it is the fact that there's so many different accessories you can buy. So this is one of the accessories, and it's called the Elite attachment. Whenever you purchase this Elite attachment, it comes with a few different things. It comes with this bar right here, this little piece, this piece, not these pliers, and this little attachment for it. This is the attachment you would use. That there's a large hole that actually goes on your vise stem, and there's a smaller hole, and depending on the way you want to use your attachment, you select that hole and it just simply tightens this way. Now I have mine on without this piece because I'm actually using the Stonfo joint block. It allows me to attach a bunch of different accessories. It's a lot nicer, but that's a different story. So let me get back to this piece right here. Now if you notice, there's this little round section right here. This is actually used as a bob and rest. So if I wanted to use my vise more for the rotary features, I can utilize it with this bob and rest and actually just take this piece out and place it within my joint block another way. But for the purposes of this video, we're instead going to focus on this little section right here. Now whenever you Google for a gallows tool, you'll get something that will come up that will look very similar to this piece right here and that bent fish hook at the very end. So this is the gallows tool. Now I can adjust this depending on which way I want to go. This tool can also go up or down. All I have to do is just adjust that with my Allen wrench. And from the end of this hook, you just attach your pair of favorite hackle pliers. So you simply would attach the pair and then attach those to your parachute, whatever material you're going to be using. So it's a real simple way to just quickly attach something to your parachute. If you already have a favorite pair of pliers that you like to use, this is the type of setup I would recommend for you, something along these lines. Now the other thing that Stonfo has done, they're also selling just a pair of parachute pliers that already have the pliers attached to them. And I got these as well, and I tend to use these a little bit more frequently because what's nice is you don't have to worry about hanging your pair of pliers off of them. Instead, they already have a little clip. You can adjust this, you can pull it down. In this case, it's a little high. I left it high because I would typically use this tool whenever it's higher. But if I want to adjust it down, I can simply just grab my Allen wrench, bring this down just a little bit, not too far. And now I have this in a great position to simply just pull down, attach it to a parachute post, and then begin tying. So again, this is called the Elite attachment. It's by Stonfo. It's an Italian-based company. I really do recommend, if you're going to have a vise that you're going to be tying some parachutes with and you really like the use of tools, look for some type of gallows tool, look for some use of parachute plier, some tool along that line. You could probably make it yourself if you're going for that. I know of a few guys who have in the past, but it really makes tying parachute flies a lot easier. What I'm going to do right now is kind of zoom the camera in a little bit, and I'm actually going to tie just a parachute so you can see just how easy it is. I'm going to move these two out of the way. I'm just going to focus on using the Stonfo, just the parachute plier for this. Okay, now that I have the camera reconfigured, I have a dry fly hook in my vise. I'm going to be using the Stonfo parachute plier, so it's directly above my hook. I'm just going to grab some 8/0 thread and just build a little base directly behind the eye. Go back approximately 6 to 8 turns, and then I come back forward towards the eye about 3. I just want to create a little base in there for my parachute post. Next time I grab the material that I'm going to use for this, it's the parachute post wing by Hairline. The color that I love is this fluorescent chartreuse. It's just a great color. It's really easy to see on the water. Some other colors that I use are fluorescent pink, tan, and dun as well, though this is really my go-to color. Once I have selected this, I like to cut about a 1 inch section. I'm going to exaggerate that just a little bit for the purposes of this video. Your section will look something like this, except in my mind, this is a little bit too much material. So what I'm going to do is just kind of separate it a little bit, take about a 1/6 or a 1/5 of it out, if that makes sense at all. Just pull that stuff out, put that to the side because I can clump that up with another section to make another post. And then with this remaining piece of material, I'm going to place it underneath my thread. So I'm lifting my thread towards me, and I'm going to place this material underneath the thread and then have the tips touch. From that point, I'm just going to wrap my thread around the hook and make a few locking wraps. A couple in front, one behind, and then just let my thread hang. Now it's this point that I'm going to pull my parachute plier down. Now for starters, make sure this parachute plier isn't too far up, because if you really stretch this spring and you release it, you'll see the hook bend really extreme. You don't want to do that. You don't want your hook to come flying out of your vise and possibly chip any part of this. So instead, I kind of make sure you have this adjusted. For starters, I make it so that this parachute plier is just above that parachute wing material. That way I am going to have a little bit of pressure on it whenever I clip it on. You can see whenever I release it, that hook does ride up just a little bit. Not enough to pop the hook out of the jaws though. It's at this point that I could really just firm up my parachute post. I'm going to make somewhere around 6 to 8 wraps, about 4 going up. Then I'm just going to start wrapping my way back down. Once I'm sure that I have a nice base, once I'm sure that I'm able to wrap some hackle around that parachute post, I'm just going to put some figure eights around it to make sure everything's locked in place. And then I can release my post from my tool, kind of get that tool out of the way. It's at this point, if I want to, I can trim this right now, or I can wait until I have my hackle on it. I'm just going to trim it away just to kind of get that a little bit out of my way. And then I'd be able to wrap back, add on my tail, dub my body, or add some type of body material, wrap back forward, and add my hackle to this parachute post. So that is really the gist of using a parachute post tool. They are really slick tools. I really encourage you to look into them because you can see just how easy it is to tie whenever you have this tool attached to your parachute post wing material. It's a great thing. I really do encourage you to check out the Stonfo. Thanks go out to them because they have a couple really great tools right now, including that joint block that I talked about, their elite attachment that this parachute plier is attached to, plus this parachute plier itself. I really like this one. This is turning into my go-to attachment right now whenever I'm tying these patterns. So thanks for viewing this YouTube fly tying tutorial regarding how to tie parachute posts with some tools. If you have any questions or comments about this video, please feel free to leave them directly on this YouTube page, or as always, you can email me at tcammisa@gmail.com. Thanks everyone for viewing this fly tying tutorial.